Welcome to the channel, friends. So today's video is going to be covering the Emerson SENSI Lite model. There's also the Touch and Touch 2. Those are covered by separate videos, so take a look at those. But we're going to get into connecting with the app and using the app and what's available on the app and how to, change the different settings on the app itself. So I have a video covering manual override and manual operation and kind of the more basic functions and settings available using the three, touch buttons on the thermostat, but it's very limiting when it comes to flexibility. You can't set a schedule and do more advanced features through the thermostat itself. You have to use the app with this thermostat. So that's why it's called a smart thermostat. You kind of need to go through the process and set the thermostat up. So before that, you want to make sure also that you have brand new fresh batteries in your thermostat, because if you do not, and you have the little replace battery symbol at the bottom here, it will not connect. Okay, so that's the very first thing you need to do, is make sure you have good fresh batteries in your thermostat. That way you don't have a problem connecting. But that's going to be something you're going to worry about after you've already set up the app. So setting up the app is kind of simple. You download the app off, Google Play or, Apple Store. And then you're going to go and basically you're going to get prompted to add in which thermostat you have here, okay? So as you can see here, they provide you with a list of thermostats, and this is the Lite model. So I went ahead and selected the Lite model, but there's also, 4 others here and the room sensor. But you're going to have to go through that process. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. They ask you a whole bunch of questions like your email address, your home address, your phone number, all sorts of stuff. It's kind of, I think, too much information, but you have to do it to complete the app, the registration and everything. There's no other way of completing it. So you have to input some information. But once you get through that, it's going to ask you stuff. Do you want to cancel the... All right, so as you can see, I already have one thermostat here, which is this one connected, but it's going to ask you a set of prompts, once you get past the registration, what wires are connected to your device. So you're going to list off, they're going to give you little options for you to select. So you're going to select the wires connected, this and that, and go through the steps until you get to this screen here, which is like basically your home screen. It'll show you if you had multiple sensors or multiple thermostats connected here. I only have one. Over here, the 3 dots gives you some more information, help center, email and notification. So if you want this thing to email and notify you, according to different parameter set, different pieces of information you would like to know, account information. But anyways, let's go and select this here. We can use the up and down arrow really quickly to adjust the temperature. And it says right here we're in heat mode. But let's go ahead and kind of expand that. So now we're in basically the page for the thermostat where you can see all the information. Okay, so if you were to basically override this right now, let's go to 68. Okay, now it brought up this here. It's basically going to hold it. It's going to hold it until the next period here. So if you have this like little set of time periods at the bottom, it's going to hold it till the next time period, which is 5 p.m. Okay, and so on. It's going to go to each one of these blocks. And if you want to cancel the hold, you just simply hit confirm, and it's going to cancel that hold. So that's how you temporary override through the app. And as you can hear the thermostat clicking off and on here, and you can see the little symbol here that shows we're connected through Wi-Fi. But you can override it that quick, okay? So simply from your phone, and then it'll shoot it over within like 10 seconds. The thermostat updates. Now, that's really simple to use. I like that. Right here you have your mode. You can select obviously from heat, cool, auto changeover. Okay, I go over manually how to do that, but this is when you do it through the phone here. This is where it's available. So we have heat. So we're just going to keep heat. We have the fan mode. We have on, auto, and circulate. Okay. If you leave it in on, it's going to stay on 24/7, 365. You don't want that. You want to set it in auto. Auto is going to be your normal setting. Okay. And then here is the scheduling. So if you wanted to do scheduling, this is where you would do it. schedule type. So this is also, if you wanted to turn it off completely, you would go to no schedule. So that's a manual operation. If you wanted to dumb this thing down to a manual thermostat and only use these 3 buttons to control the unit, and that's it, like a manual style thermostat, you would go ahead and select to no schedule. So if you have program schedule, obviously it's going to follow the program schedule that's set in here. This one here called geofencing is that it uses a location of your phone to set the thermostat. So if it knows that you're away from your home, it's going to reside to a different schedule. And you can set all different schedules up. Okay. Early start, that's self-explanatory. It's going to start early so it preheats for the allotted time that you set for each period of the day, each block of the day. Edit schedules is right in the middle there. And this is where you would edit all your program schedules for cooling as well as heating. Okay, and then you have the auto changeover schedules. So let's just go into cooling and edit that one. As you can see here, you have this nice kind of display of, time frames and days of the week. So you can add an event, so you can add another block if you want, add another day group, and then you would hit save when you're satisfied with kind of the format or the layout. But this takes some time to set up. This is kind of part of the thermostat and how to use it to its full extent, essentially. So you want to go ahead there and start selecting different time blocks and what to set it to. So cool set point, and then the same thing for the corresponding heat set point. So they give you 4 blocks of time, but you can add more if you need to. Okay, so that's the same thing for cooling, and it will be the same thing for heating. So when you hit save, it's going to save that, and then you can back out of it. Let's go to heating. Same thing. You can also copy. That's a very nice feature. So you can, right there, you see copy that schedule, and make another one. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete that one that I just made. So as you can see, very flexible. Let's back out. So heating and cooling, you would go in there and edit your schedules. Schedule page. And let's go to the next one, which is usage. So this right here will show you kind of the usage of your thermostat. There's not much here because I just connected this thing for this demonstration. But if you were to, have days of runtime on your heating or, AC unit, you would see it there, and it would show you the runtime hours and kind of the chart over time. But next thing I want to talk about is the settings. So very important. You want to go through your settings and make sure everything is up to date and the way you want it. Continuous backlight. Then you have temperature display, which is, Fahrenheit or Celsius. Very simple, easy to understand. System settings. Now, this right here, this first one is very important. Okay, do you want to lock out your display in your thermostat? Most likely not. Okay, but if you wanted to lock the thermostat out, you would go ahead and select that on. Now, by doing that, you can lock yourself out of your thermostat if the Wi-Fi goes down. So be careful about that. In that case, you have to wait till the Wi-Fi connects again in order to come back onto your app and change it, because if you lose connection on either one, you're going to have a problem, okay? So you have to basically do that when you have good full active connection. I would leave it off, so I would not mess with that. Then you have these temperature limits. You can set the cooling minimum set point and heating maximum set point, okay? And then you have cycle rates. You can have heating, cooling, cycle more times per hour or less times per hour. Depends on what you want. Your options are slow, medium, and fast. So if it was slow, it would be working less. If you did fast, it would be constantly, heating or cooling to keep a very precise temperature, essentially. It also has a temperature offset. It basically offsets the values from the sensor to what the actual, set point is set to. So that's also useful. AC protection, that's basically compressor protection. It basically, if your unit's turning off and on like 20 times an hour, that's going to beat up your compressor. So this would give it a delay time of like 5 minutes or something when you turn this on. So that helps the compressor last a lot longer. So I would recommend turning that on. And then the next thing we have here is service reminders. That will remind you via email to replace filter or whatever you have set up. So you can have it do notifications to your phone or email. It's very, very interesting. A good thing to have. So moving along, we have thermostat info. We have your name, location, time. I'm not going to click on that. Contractor info. About thermostat, that's a good one. This is going to give you battery level, Wi-Fi strength, your model, your firmware, all the details of your thermostat. Current runtime, outdoor configuration. It's showing all these things, okay? And it shows you a version, and it also shows you can remove the thermostat here. So there's really no factory reset on this thing besides this right here, remove thermostat. Everything has to be selected through the menu, and you have to click through to make your adjustments. Okay. I mean, it's actually very simple. There's not a lot to it. Like I said, you have your scheduled blocks down here. You have kind of your options here, your settings up here. There's not too much. It's very simple to set up. Like I said, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. But let's go to 68. Let's see what it does. So it's going to start heating. My thermostat clicked on. I can see that. We have the heating symbol, little flame. Then we have the Wi-Fi signal. Everything is set up. Also, as you can see there, it's starting to heat up. It's getting that two-way feedback. Okay, so I want to cover one last thing. If you want to turn off your Wi-Fi for any reason, if you want to operate it as a manual thermostat and not be connected to the smartphone and the app, you have to turn off the Wi-Fi. In order to do that, you have to go through the settings menu. So you have to basically bring it to off and then hold it down. Okay, once you do that, it'll bring up the menu. Click to the very end, which is the third option, and it's going to say on or off. And I wasn't fast enough there, so we're going to retry that. Okay, so we have to do it really quickly. So hold it down. You have to get it before it starts scrolling. Okay, and I'm going to click off. And then hit the menu button there, the mode button, and that's going to bring me to the basic menu. And as you can see there, the Wi-Fi is turned off. It's not connected anymore. And I can cycle through the modes, and it's not connected. And let's go ahead and turn it back on. Hold it down. We're going to see it wants us to turn back on and let it. That basically when it does that scrolling, it wants to do the setup. Okay, that's a setup window or page for the Wi-Fi. But I'm going to go ahead and really quickly just turn it on. Okay, so right now it should power back up and connect. Let's see, it should connect pretty quickly. We'll give it like 15 seconds. If that Wi-Fi symbol is there, even with the X mark, it wants to connect. It means it's on. So let's reestablish a connection with the phone. So we're going to back out, open up the app. And there we go. Okay, so you have to back out of the app possibly to make a brand new connection with the thermostat. In the event if you disconnected the thermostat from the Wi-Fi and reconnected. So just open up your app and you will be good to go. But that there is the kind of the quick tip when it comes to turning off and on the Wi-Fi for the thermostat. Check out my other videos, guys. I have manual override. I go over the kind of basic quick settings through that menu that are through the push button menu on the thermostat. And I go through the backplate and the removal of batteries and show you the locations of that and how to remove it from the wall and what it takes to do that and what's on the back side of the thermostat There's some useful information on there, so please check it out. But check out my other video, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.